Today, we're going to dive into an ancient Korean poem that holds some incredible wisdom about the human heart. Seriously, we're talking about words written over 1,000 years ago that can teach us some really profound things about love, empathy, and even sorrow. All right, let's get into it. Just think about that feeling for a second. That anxious, heart in your throat moment when you're just waiting. You're physically standing still, but your mind is going a mile a minute, caught between hoping for the best and fearing the worst. It's a feeling we've all had, and it turns out someone captured it perfectly. And that someone was Choe Chi-won. He was a brilliant scholar and poet from Korea's ancient Silla dynasty. In his poem, At the U-gang Station Pavilion, he doesn't just describe what it's like to wait, he gets to the very soul of it. And what he finds is just as relevant to us today as it was back then. Okay, let's dive right into the poem. We're going to break it down line by line to see how Choe Chi-won builds this incredible scene that's just as much about the emotional landscape as it is the physical one. So this is the first line. It's written in Hanja, which are the characters used in classical Korean. You'd read it out loud as Je-ugang-yeok回舟. Now, it might look a little complicated, but let's break down the key parts to see the powerful image it's painting. The first important character is this one, sa. In Korean, it's pronounced sa, and it means sand. So right off the bat, the poet puts us in a very specific place, a sandy shore. You can almost feel how barren and uncertain that setting is. Next up, we have ma, pronounced ma, and it means horse. But here, it's part of a phrase that really means to stop one's horse. This isn't just a casual pause, This is a deliberate halt. The entire journey has come to a stop for this one moment. And that brings us to the real heart of the line, matsu. This one is pronounced dae, and it means to wait. This is the action, or I guess the inaction, that defines the whole scene. Sand, a stopped horse, and waiting. So when you put it all together, you get this incredible picture. On the sandy shore, I stand my horse and wait for the returning boat. You can just feel that tension, can't you? The complete stillness of the rider and the horse set against this desperate hope for some movement out there on the water. Okay, let's look at the second line and see how he builds on this. This line is read, "Alde yampa, mango soup." If that first line set the physical stage, this one throws us right into the middle of an emotional storm. And this is where the poem gets really brilliant. It pairs the physical world with the emotional one. You've got yanpa, which are the misty waves the poet is looking at. And then you have mangosu, which describes a sorrow so huge it feels ancient, almost endless. The poet isn't just seeing misty waves. He's literally seeing his own sorrow reflected back at him from the water. So here's the crucial idea. That rough, misty water isn't just a pretty background. It's the poet's own fear for the person on that boat made real. This is what you'd call profound empathy. In Korean, 배려. It's when you feel someone else's potential struggle so deeply that it literally changes the world you see around you. And now we get to the poem's conclusion, which is really its philosophical heart. He set up this scene of just unbearable waiting and sorrow. So where does he go from there? The answer is, well, it's pretty staggering. The poem basically asks this question, right? After painting such a raw picture of pain, what's the solution? What could possibly bring an end to this feeling of separation and worry? The answer is definitely not what you'd expect. This is the third line. It's read, Je-ugang-yeok. And right here, the poet lays out two, let's just call them impossible conditions that have to be met before this sorrow can end. First, sanpyeong, the mountains themselves have to completely crumble and become flat plains. Second, sugal, all the water in every river and sea has to totally dry up. I mean, these aren't just difficult things, they're apocalyptic. He's describing the end of the world as we know it. And only when those impossible things happen, only then, the poet says in this final line, will the sorrow of separation finally stop. This line reads, 인간 이별 시에 하유, and it's just such a powerful, almost devastating conclusion. So the poet's answer is this. The pain of being apart from someone you love will only end when the mountains are gone and the seas are dry. In other words, never. He's saying that as long as this world exists, as long as we exist, the sorrow that comes from separation is just a fundamental, unavoidable part of being human.
Now, that might sound incredibly pessimistic, but it's actually the source of some incredible wisdom and strength. So what are we supposed to take away from this powerful thousand-year-old message?
Well, first, the poem is a masterclass in profound empathy, that idea of barrieo, feeling for someone so much that it reshapes your world. Second, it gives us a new way to think about deep love, sarang, suggesting that the true measure of love is how deeply you care. And finally, it offers this timeless wisdom, or jihye, that real strength isn't about avoiding sorrow, but about accepting that it's a natural part of life and love.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. Choe Chi-won isn't trying to give us a quick fix for sadness. Instead, he's holding up a mirror to our own deep feelings and saying, you see this pain you feel? That's not a weakness. That is the absolute, undeniable proof that you are capable of love. So the poem leaves us with a pretty powerful thought. Just like Choe Chi-won found this profound meaning in the ache of waiting, maybe the most powerful feelings in our own lives aren't actually problems to be solved. Maybe they're invitations to understand ourselves and our ability to love just a little bit more deeply.